Peak Marketers, this is Bill Guthrie, and we have a hot one today. I am really excited to welcome our featured guest, Russ Ruffino. Now, in just 4 years, Russ went from bartender to online marketer to CEO of Clients on Demand, which is a multi-million-dollar consulting company that specializes in taking businesses to 6 figures per month in revenue. If you're a coach, an expert, a service provider, or an infopreneur, Russ has a system that will have you commanding $5,000 to $50,000 per client and getting them amazing results without being chained to the office. Woo! Russ, are you ready?
Ready to rock, man.
Man, I am so excited to have you. Let's start off. Tell us a little bit about Russ Ruffino, the person, and give us some sense about what your business is all about.
So, what the business is about is exactly what you said. The company's called Clients on Demand. Built it up over the past year and a half based on my background in internet marketing. And, I don't know how deep do you want me to go into backstory?
Yeah, how does someone go from being a bartender to, figuring out some, online successes to achieving what you're at today?
Okay, cool. Great. Yeah, great question. So I was a bartender for 10 years, from age 21 to age 31. Turned 30, started to freak. At first it was great. I was bartending and you meet girls, it's a fun job. But turned 30, started to freak out a bit. Turned 31, started to just have a meltdown about I just did not want to be a 45-year-old bartender. And I knew people were making money online. I had some friends that were doing things here and there. I had one of my friend's brothers was doing a lot with affiliate marketing and stuff. And I didn't know anything about it, but I figured, you know what, man, if these guys can do it, I can do it. I can figure this stuff out. So I started doing a little bit of research, realized that the people that were making the most money were not the people that were affiliates. They were the people that were product creators, the people that were monetizing their own knowledge. And so I said, screw it. Let me try to create some kind of an information product and just see what I can do with it. So created something, launched it, wasn't making any money, quit my bartending job with $500 in the bank just because I couldn't take it anymore. There was one night in particular, I really got into it with my boss, man, and I really wanted to tell him to F off, but I didn't, and I bit my tongue, and I went home and I talked to my then girlfriend, now wife, and I said, baby, he was laying into me in front of all my customers and in front of the other employees. I really wanted to say something and I didn't. And I don't feel like I'm being a man. And she was like, you got to quit. She's like, forget it. You got to quit. So I quit. And then right when I quit, the online product just took off and ended up doing, I think, $160,000 in 6 months. Which was just life-changing for me because now as a bartender, I don't think I ever made more than 20 grand in a year. So all of a sudden it was just whoa, this is crazy. I'm, not standing behind a bar. I'm not pouring drinks. I'm not whatever, but I'm still making a few $100s a day. And it was just that was life-changing for me. Then I started getting into product creation about how to do this kind of online marketing and how to have this kind of success. So I did that for 3 years. And I was kind of stuck in low ticket launch hell, or if you look at the people that are selling stuff online, right, the majority of them are pricing their stuff from $27 to $197. And it just makes it really, really hard to hit your income goals. If you want to make $1 million online, getting there in little $27 chunks or $200 chunks or even $2,000 chunks is really, really tough. And so that bothered me. And it also bothered me that I constantly had to do these launches where I would do a big, big launch and I would make $60,000 on the launch or $70,000 on the launch, which sounded awesome. But then the launch was over. And then 3 or 4 months would go by and that little pile of cash would get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until the next launch. And I just felt like I was a hamster on a wheel and I wasn't going anywhere. And I was making money, but my net worth was not going up. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And then the worst thing about that was that the people that I was giving the information to, even though the information was terrific, they were not taking action. So if you buy a product from me and you spend $197, I'm going to get $197 worth of commitment from you, right? And for most people, that's not much.
Right.
So I said, listen, I got to figure out how to get off this launch bandwagon. I want to charge higher prices, but I want to work with fewer people so that they're more committed and so that I'm more committed to really getting results for them. And that was sort of the genesis of the Clients on Demand system that we created, where we said instead of selling 2,000 copies of a $200 product, we're going to work with like 10, 15, 20, 30 people a month at a premium price point, but we're going to do everything we can to get those people results. So it's kind of a transition from providing information to now we're providing transformation, where our clients' lives and their mindset and their income are completely different after they work with us than they were before. So for me, it's a lot more lucrative. It's a lot more satisfying. And it's everything that I kind of wanted online marketing to be for me, but it never was. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And I can only assume there's a huge amount of satisfaction in working with people that you know rather than a huge mass of strangers around the world, so that you've got people on a first name basis, you know what their business is, what their goals are, right? I mean, I'm guessing you got your sleeves rolled up and you're, deep down in their business at some level to really understand who they are as a person, where they're coming from. When you're selling to the masses, it's tricky. Coca-Cola doesn't know who's buying their soda. Yeah. But if you've got that kind of a consulting level, well, tell us, when you made this pivot and figured out, this is what you wanted to do, what was your biggest stumbling block to starting to move that new business forward?
There were so many stumbling blocks. Like we had to figure out, the biggest lesson that we needed to learn is that when you're talking about people investing at a premium price point, it's like I just said, it's no longer about information, it's about transformation. And that everything that you do has to be built around the one guiding principle of results. That's it. It's either going to increase your client's results or decrease your client results, period. That's it. End of story. And unfortunately, most of the people in online marketing don't give a shit about anybody's results. They don't care. They just want to put the information out there, send you your big box of DVDs, or, you come to your live event, we get you all pumped up for 3 days, and then we send you on your way and you go figure, hey, have fun figuring this out. So that was our guiding principle, is what can we do to make sure that every single client who comes to us, who's really committed, gets results. If you come and work with me and you just don't do anything I tell you to do, I can't do anything about that. Right. But if you come in and you're ready to rock and roll, what can we do to make sure you get results? So that really required a top to bottom rethink of everything that we do, because it was like we realized that when you're talking about selling something at a premium price point, people aren't buying their way into something, they're buying their way out of something. So like if I'm trying to sell you a $200 video course or something like that, I can get you all pumped up and excited about it and so curious and so interested that you're like, screw it, I'm going to click the add to cart button and I'm going to check it out. Then you're going to click the add to cart button and it's going to be an impulse buy, and you'll get in there and you'll be like, oh my God, this content is great. It's amazing. I'm learning so much. And then you won't do anything with it. That's just human nature. But what we do is get people in touch with what's not working in their business and what's not working in their life and what really, really, really needs to change. And we get them very crystal clear on those things so that they come in and they're like, I need to escape from not having enough money. I need to escape from not having enough clients. And we help them do that in a really powerful, really leveraged way. And then once we figured those things out, then it was just coming up with, okay, great, now we know what we're doing. How the hell do we sell it?
Yeah, right.
Right.
And how do you Russ, how did you go about getting that first client? It's a big commitment. You're talking about results. How do you get that first person where you're almost saying, I promise, if of all of my clients, you're the one who will get the most amazing results. You're our first client. I'm going to give you everything. How do you get that first person through the door when you're just starting out?
Well, when you're just starting out, what you need is a process, and that's what most people don't have. So the process that we use with our clients is really, really simple. So like if you and I were working together, right, we would figure out, okay, what is the problem that you're going to solve, right? Whatever it is. You have a massive skill set. There's a million things you know how to do. So we would pick one thing that we're going to focus on, that we're going to build a program around. We'd help you build that program, probably like a 6 to 8 week program. We'd help you come up with a price that makes sense, 5K, 6K, 10K, whatever you think makes sense, whatever we think makes sense. And then we'll show you how to deploy a process that sells it. So the process that we use for most of our clients is very simple. We send people from a Facebook ad or a social media ad to a registration page where they sign up for an automated webinar, and then the call to action on the automated webinar is for a phone call. They call you up, you call them up, you have that phone consultation. You decide if it's a fit. They decide if it's a fit. And if it is, they sign up with you as a client. So having that process kind of transcends whether you have, anybody really worrying about whether you have 5 clients or 10 clients or 20 clients or a million clients. Doesn't matter, because they know the exact problem that you solve. They know that you have the authority to solve it, that you know what you're doing. And then it's just a question of, is it a fit? Do you want to work with them? Do they want to work with you? Yes, great. Let's get you signed up. So by having that process that's so clear and so streamlined, I mean, we've had people come into our workshop that had never sold anything high ticket before. And we had one woman, Diana, come in. We helped her put together a $5,000 program. And her niche was marketing to businesses in the Spanish-speaking market. So
Okay.
like not the most affluent, thing. She's not like working with multi-million-dollar companies or whatever.
Right.
But she took this $5,000 program. She sold 42 copies of it in the first like 40 days that we worked together using that process. So she did 210 grand like within like a month of signing up with us, just because we could say, hey, Diane, here's what you're going to do. You're going to do this and then this and then this. And she was like, great. She did it and it works. So, so whether or not you've got 1 client or 10 clients or whatever, it almost doesn't matter, as long as you have a process that takes people through, number one, who is this guy? I have no idea who he is, but I'm going to click on his ad. Now I'm intrigued. I'm going to sign up for his webinar. Now I'm listening to his webinar. This guy's incredible. I'm engaged. Now I'm going to get on the phone with him. And then I feel like this guy's a fit. I'm going to put my future in his hands.
What, so far to date, what has been your single greatest business achievement? That first launch, $170,000 in a short amount of time. Now you've evolved. If you could pinpoint one thing, what was that moment where you said, "Man, this is I've reached some massive level that I'm really proud of"?
Every day, really. So we just made the transition from doing I would say the first time I had a 6-figure month. That was a huge milestone. Mm-hmm. Then that $100,000 months became $200,000 months. Now we're pretty consistently having $300,000 months, which is just crazy. It's like, even saying it sounds insane. Like, that's bananas to me, But the thing is, like, if you've got a process that works and that you can scale, our goal right now is to get to $1 million a month. Yeah. Which is an absurd goal, but we know exactly how we're going to do it. We know how many people we have to enroll. We know at what price. We know everything. How many leads we have to, how much we have to spend on advertising. We know everything, exactly how we're going to get there. It's just a question of ramping things up so that we can do it successfully. So to me, the biggest achievement is that we have a machine. Our business works like a machine. It works like clockwork. Where you see a lot of people who have really amazing results. Like, someone will tell you, oh yeah, I've got my $2,000 program and we did a big launch and we sold, I don't know, 4,000 copies of it. We did $8 million in business, right? And it's like, okay, 60% of that gets eaten up by affiliates, and another, maybe 20% of that goes to refunds. Sure. And whatever it is. I mean, and that's normal, but it's not sustainable. It's like one big pop. We've got something where it's like every single day, it's like boom, boom, boom. We have high ticket sales coming in, and the exact process we use is what we empower our clients to use. So to me, that's the biggest achievement, is that we've got a system that works for, not just for us, but for the people that we work with as well, to create consistent high ticket sales and get really great results for the customer.
Awesome, man. So marketing is about presenting the right offer to the right people at the right time. And so I want to transition and get even more into your process and give us some secrets here. So you're already kind of saying some of this, but I want to be clear. So what is your favorite traffic source?
So the thing that people get hung up on is people tend to worry a little bit too much about where their traffic is coming from and not worry enough about where that traffic is going. Okay? So the traffic source is not nearly as important as whether or not you've got a funnel that works to create the results that you want. And so what happens is, most people who are so worried about traffic, they're like, oh my God, how do I get traffic? How do I get traffic? And it's like, okay, great. I'll tell you what, man, I'm going to send you 100,000 clicks today. Where are you going to send it? They're like, I have no idea. So it's like, okay, well, why are you worried about traffic? Figure out what the hell your process is, and then you can get traffic from anywhere. So once you have a funnel in place, we found that the best clicks, the best quality clicks that we're getting is coming from social media.
Okay.
So we run ads on Facebook, we run ads on Twitter, and then we do retargeting as well, where sometimes we'll send people from Facebook to like a blog post, pixel them, and then retarget them so that we can come back to them again and again.
Yep.
But all of that is 1,000,000% dependent on having a funnel. So like right now in our funnel, we're earning back about $20 for every dollar we spend on Facebook.
Wow.
So like in a $200,000 a month, we'll probably spend 10, 11, 12 grand on traffic, but we'll do $200,000. So that's all because of the process. Like it's all because of the process. So that's what people need to dial in first is what is that process? And that's part of the great thing about selling high ticket. Where like if you're selling low ticket, where it's like you're sending that Facebook traffic to like a free report, and then they sign up for a free report, and then you hit them with an OTO, like a one-time offer where it's like now you're gonna buy our $9 thing, and if enough people buy our $9 thing, we're gonna break even on traffic. Where for every dollar we spend on traffic, we're gonna make $1 back, and then the next upsell, for every dollar we spend on traffic, we're gonna make $1.35 back, and we can take that 35 cents, we're gonna run with it, and it's like. Screw that. Like, what I mean?
Right.
If I'm going to spend, 10 grand on Facebook, I want to make a couple $100,000 back. So, and what are those people going to do with that $9 free report anyway?
Right.
It's just not necessary. It's a distraction. That's like, if you've got a solution to their problem, solve the problem. I had the good fortune of hitting one of my all-time life goals last summer, and I actually went to a Bentley dealership. And I bought a Bentley, which was crazy. But when I walked in the dealership, guess what they did? They sold me a freaking Bentley. They didn't say, here's a keychain. And I was like, oh great, now here's a T-shirt. And then upsell me to buying the car.
Right.
It's like I walked in, they were like, hey, here's the car. Do you want it? Yes. So, my opinion is that if you've got a solution people want, just sell it to them right out of the gate. Don't spend a lot of time doing this whole ascension model where you think you've got to sell them something for $7 before you sell them something for 10 grand, because if they really have that problem, they want the 10 grand solution. They want to fix it. They want it done. They want it handled. So everything that we do in our sales process is built around that, and that's what enables us to really tap into some cool traffic sources.
Is there one thing in your sales funnel that you maybe when you got started that you've tweaked that has caused a lot of positives for you?
Using automated webinars is probably the biggest breakthrough that we've had. We find that nothing converts better than a webinar. Conventional wisdom was like, no one's going to come to a webinar if it's automated. We found that that's not true. We actually get like 90-95% attendance, which is crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, and then that's because we've got the automation dialed in and the scheduling dialed in. There's a lot of people that will say that if you driving cold traffic to a webinar page doesn't work. You gotta offer them a free report or something first, and then on the thank you page offer them the webinar. We found that's not true either. So a lot of these things that people think are true, when you test it, you realize it's not true. Some guy tested it one time, and then he didn't get the result, and then that became a rumor, and then that spread to everybody, and now it's conventional wisdom. But if you actually go and try these things for yourself, you'll realize that you can do a lot more than you thought. So the biggest breakthrough we had in our funnel was getting our automated webinars dialed in.
When you're working with your clients, what's your process of figuring out what their product or service or, what their offer is?
Yeah.
How does that go?
Yeah, so it can't just be anybody off the street. I just want to be clear about that. Like, we can't take like your grandma and just have her create like a it's not one of those.
You make great cornbread.
Well, it's not one of those things where it's like so simple anyone can do it. Your next door neighbor can make millions of dollars online or whatever. That's like we're the opposite of that.
Yeah.
But if you come to me and you have legitimate expertise and you have legitimate skill, we'll talk about it. And we have a process that we take you through where it's like, we just get you clear on what is the one problem that you want to specialize in solving. Because if you're a doctor and you're a general practitioner who kind of does everything, you're going to make a hell of a lot less money than if you're a vascular surgeon who does one thing. Mm-hmm. So what we want you to do is specialize. And so sometimes life coaches or, hypnotherapists or something will come to us and they've got this incredible skill set where like they can help you stop smoking, they can cure your fears, they can whatever. And we have to help them pick one problem that they want to specialize in. And usually we can find that pretty quickly. Even if they've worked with hundreds of people, there'll be one thing that's kind of their favorite problem to solve, or there'll be a couple clients that are like their best case studies, but they all have one thing in common. Mm-hmm. And that's where we'll start. We'll focus on that. So that's kind of the thing we do in the very first week of our workshop is just get you crystal clear on what is the problem you're solving, who are you solving it for, what's your system for solving it, and how much money do you want to charge.
What do you think that if there's one skill that every marketer needs to have, what do you think that is? Just that one, it doesn't even have to be something that they have to physically do.
Yeah.
But even if it's one bit of knowledge that for you to succeed, you've got to understand this idea. What do you think that would be?
Empathy. Empathy is the most important quality you can possibly have. If you can close your eyes. Okay, so let's just say, for example, that I don't know, you work with married couples on the verge of divorce, right? But you've never been divorced yourself, right? So you've never firsthand experienced that pain and what that feels like. You have to be able to mentally project yourself into that guy's reality. What is that like to go to bed at night and wake up next to someone and there's that ice in between you, where there's so many things you want to say and you can't say it? Where you go up to your wife or your husband and you put your arm around them and they shrink away from it. You know what I'm saying? If you weave those things into your sales messages and your webinars and your copy, those people are naturally just going to think, oh my God, this guy's got a hidden camera in my house. He's watching me. He sees exactly what I'm doing. And it's like, that is so powerful, because then that person is going to go, okay, this guy knows exactly what I'm going through. He must know the solution.
Right. And this is information, obviously, people say, oh yeah, you need to do some market research. This is emotional research. This is being able to connect with people at the emotional level, the driver, the fear, the greatest concern, the thing that keeps them up at night, the dread that they've got, and be able to internalize and articulate that.
And you have to go there in your imagination. That's the thing. Like, you can do your market research and you'll find statistics like, I don't know, just to keep going with that same example, this X percentage of marriages end in divorce, or the average divorce costs, $80 billion or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And those things are fine. And there's a place for that kind of information, but there is no substitute for you, getting in a room by yourself, closing your eyes, and just imagining what your client's day is like and what that problem is like. Not just today, but what it's going to be like in 5 years if they haven't fixed it, in 10 years if they haven't fixed it. And that's what gives you the power behind your sales messaging. That's what gives you the ability to get on the phone with someone and say, hey, you want to work when you want to work together, that's $10,000. And you can say that with a straight face, because you know what's going to happen to them if they don't work with you. You know where they're going to be in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years. So that empathy is the key. And it's what great writers do. It's what great actors do. And it's something that you can easily do, but no one really takes the time to do it. But it just kind of supercharges everything else.
I love that. At this point in your career, is there a part of marketing that you wish that you knew more about?
Right now, it's just coming down to kind of scaling what we're already doing. So we took our business from doing, $20,000 a month to doing $300,000 a month in the space of about 14 months, which is crazy. And so now we're trying to go from, like 300,000 a month to $1 million a month and then beyond. So I wish that I knew more about taking a business from 7 figures to 8 figures, from 8 figures to 9 figures, from 9 figures to 10 figures. So I wish I knew more about that. But then on the other hand, what we're doing is so weird and unique and like different that, from, let's say, a company that makes paper clips or tires or something like that, I wonder how much of that would even even apply to what it is that we do. Sure. But yeah, that's sort of our growing edge right now, because we've got a great program. We're getting great results for people. Now we're just trying to ramp it up without losing any quality whatsoever, without sacrificing quality.
Yeah.
Because like I said, results is the number one principle.
Well, we're about to jump into the Hot 5 round. Before we do, let's take a little word from our sponsors. Okay, welcome back to the Hot 5 round. We're looking for quick answers to these juicy questions. You ready, Russ?
Yep.
What is the one thing that you do every day that makes you money?
Every day I practice gratitude, and I visualize the things that I want as if they've already happened. And I experience all the feelings that I would feel if I already had those things and I was already doing those things and already was that person. I feel all the gratitude associated with that, even though those things haven't happened yet. And then all day long, I ask myself, okay, now that these things have already happened, how do I walk? How do I talk? How do I dress? How do I carry myself? And I do the best I can to live in that reality. And when I make that a daily practice, my business goes like this. When I stop doing it or I get lazy or I get cocky, it just kills everything.
That's awesome. What do you think has the biggest potential for growth in marketing in general? Is there an angle, a type of content, a type of offer that you feel has a great amount of growth ahead for us?
So I believe that information is going to become more and more commoditized as time goes on. That just like you see happening with movies getting pirated or music getting pirated or whatever it is that, or your information products getting pirated, like the information is going to become a commodity. But people are always going to need transformation. There are always going to be people that understand there's a big, big difference between knowing what to do and actually doing it. So if you're building your programs around actually taking someone from this horrible place where they are now to this awesome place where they want to be, you'll be able to do that forever. People are always going to need that.
Awesome. What is a software or application that you could recommend to us? Something that maybe saves you time or keeps you organized?
Yeah. No, I'll give you a couple. The best platform for automated webinars is Stealth Seminar.
Okay.
The best platform for landing pages is Lead Pages. And the best payment processor is Stripe. If you guys have merchant accounts or you don't want to deal with PayPal or whatever, Stripe is incredible.
Great. Do you have a favorite song lyric?
Do I have a favorite song lyric? No. The only one that comes to mind is there's this lyric in this Iron Maiden song where he goes, "The golden goose is on the loose and never out of season." That just is like the weirdest lyric.
Russ is a metalhead. I like it.
Yeah.
Do you have a book that you would recommend to us? Something that's really made an impact in your life?
Yeah, there's been a few, but the biggest one that I keep coming back to is this book with this awful title. It's called How to Get Rich by this guy Felix Dennis. I don't know if you've heard of him. He died on June 22nd of last year, which is the day I got married. But he was worth, I think, $600 or $700 million, and it's one of the very few books about how to actually create wealth and what it really takes and the sacrifices it takes, written by somebody who has actually done it. In my mind, it's required reading for everyone who's serious about not playing your life by someone else's rules and creating the life that you want.
Okay, so we're back with our bonus question. Russ, here we go. If you had to start all over and all you had was a laptop, I'm going to give you $1,000, but you knew everything that you know today, how would you go about making money in 30 days?
I would set up an automated webinar funnel just like we have now, and I would spend $1,000 on traffic. And statistically, I would make $20,000 back from that $1,000 ad spend based on the numbers that we're doing right now. I could reinvest that back into more traffic and just scale it from there. I think if I was actually placed in that situation, I really wouldn't be worried.
That's great, man. Do you have any parting thoughts for the Peak Marketer family, and how can our listeners connect with you?
So guys, the simplest thing to do is if you want to check out one of our webinars that we use to enroll people into our program, you can look at exactly what we're doing, just spy on us, spy on our process. You can go to russruffino.com/clients on demand, all one word, russruffino.com/clients on demand. That is sort of the entrance to our current funnel. Go through it, check it out, watch our webinar. I'm going to go through a lot more of these concepts in more detail on the webinar. And if you want to be a part of what we're doing, reach out. We'd love to talk to you.
That's awesome, man. Thank you so much. This has been really, really tremendous. Thanks so much, Russ.
Yeah, my pleasure.